Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Supersize your business with your motto and code of conduct. Do you have one? Do you have a motto and a code of conduct for your business? A lot of the businesses, I would say 90% of the businesses I work with and consult with do not have one. They've never even thought about doing this. And why I encourage it is for several reasons. Number one, it clearly lets everyone in your organization and outside your organization know what you stand for, what's expected, what you will and will not tolerate from a business and professional standpoint. It also gives the people in your organization the understanding and the decision whether they want to be a part of your organization or not. Plus, it's fun to do. And I said lately that I haven't been having as much fun in my life, and I need to reincorporate that, especially since I got beautiful granddaughters, and I don't want to influence them by being a grumpy old grandma. I want to be a fun grandma. Thus, this marshmallows today, decorating my background. So what is a motto? What is a code of conduct? Why do you want one? Why do you care? And if you have one, great. And encourage you to share with us in the comments below if you so choose. I'll share really quickly, if I can get to it, 18 examples of good code of conducts, and you can go and check out one of them. You can always, whatever I talk about, you can always Google it for more information or ask AI. You could probably nowadays ask AI to create your code of conduct or your rough draft of a code of conduct and a motto for your organization if it's got enough ability to go out and search and look at the information that you've got out in the world. Maybe it can go, I don't use AI, so I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you can have it go through your website, go through everything that you create online, your content, etc., and come up with what it sees in you. Now, we could do that for our brand as well, but if you've already developed these things, it may or may not be helpful. So what do we include in our code of conduct and our motto? What's the difference? Our motto is a clear, okay, here's a motto. Life is good is the motto for this particular brand, right? Life is good is also a brand, but that's also a motto. And then they also have do what you love what you do. That's like their tagline, but that can be your motto as well. My personal one is be loving, love being, be you. I use it to sign off on a lot of things, a lot of communications, and I use it on my websites. I use it in different places when I'm showing up personally. Professionally, or for different businesses I'm a part of, we have separate different codes of conduct. Why? Because they are not me. My businesses that I'm involved in are businesses I'm involved in. I'm just one little team member and component of those businesses. The business is not my identity, my personal code of conduct, although several of my core values and several of my beliefs work their way into every organization I'm a part of or that I work with. What are some examples of what to include and how to go about creating a motto or a code of conduct if you haven't done this? There's tons of write-ups, there's tons of books. Some of my favorite coaches teach about this as well, but you can just follow a simple 5-step process. Wow, another simple 4 or 5-step process. Imagine that. Number one, what do you want? What's your goal for having a code of conduct? I want one for the businesses I work with so everybody knows what to expect, right? I found over the decades that one of the biggest lessons learned is whenever there's a failure or a problem or a challenge or something that comes up in our businesses, it almost always boils down to some sort of unclear expectation. Maybe somebody's job description wasn't clear enough. Maybe they didn't think it was their job. Maybe they knew the guidelines and the expectation, but they chose not to abide by it. Well, then that becomes part of our code of conduct. Here's what's expected in your job description. If you don't perform that, you might not work with us anymore. Pretty clear. People know what to expect. And, there's a lot of that going on right now with the work at home discussions. People, with the COVID pandemic, a lot of people were able to work from home and they don't want to go back into the office. And I was talking to my niece the other day. We were out to lunch with my sister and our niece, and we were just one of our nieces, and we were discussing work from home and the flexible work schedules and things, and how that's changed in my lifetime for sure. I mean, when I joined the corporate world, there was no option. You showed up every day if you wanted to get paid. There's a clear expectation. You show up every day if you want to get paid. And certain roles, that's necessary. Other roles, not so much. But I do think that teamwork and interaction and leadership and all those things are incorporated into our code of conduct if that's important to us. Some examples of 5 elements you want to include in your code of conduct for sure for your business are integrity. What's expected? How do you define integrity? Objectivity. There's so many things in life that are subjective. We want to find ways to measure things objectively and be objective and fact-based as much as possible. Professional competence and due care, meaning you do your job with care and excellence to the best of your ability. Confidentiality is a big one in our business code of conducts. And then professional behavior. How do we define professional behavior? We want, there's in the nurses industry, here's a good example. In the nursing industry, there's the 4 P's of code of conduct. Prioritize, people, practices, effectively, preserve safety, and promote professionalism. So prioritize, people, practice, and preservation, or preserve safety and promote professionalism. That's a mouthful. So what are a local government, because depending on what kind of an organization you're a part of, you will include different things in your code of conduct. What's expected? But I like to think of it as that line in the sand that you draw, where above the line is acceptable, totally acceptable behavior, and then we're working to ever improve and increase our effectiveness, our efficiency, how we show up, how we perform, how we treat customers, how we treat people that we work with, how we treat shareholders, how we treat everyone. And so a local government's examples are selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. You'll notice I said local government. So what are some of the things that make a good code of conduct and a good model? Well, it's written down, right? Everybody agrees on it. It's written down. It's put together by a group of, I always say a cross-functional group of the organization, right? It's supported by leadership at all levels. It is accessible, meaning people can get access to it, and it's visually appealing. A lot of businesses and a lot of companies that you will go visit, if you go visit them physically, will have their motto, their values, their objectives, their mission, their purpose, their code of conduct, everything on display in their conference rooms. I love that personally, because it shows that everybody, it's accessible, right? It's written, it meets all of these criteria, and they usually make it visually appealing. So where are some companies? I'm going to run through this list really quickly because I thought it was interesting. You can look these up and just Google it, the 18 best business code of conducts, and you can read about why they're considered the best code of conducts. You don't have to agree or like these brands or these businesses at all. I'm just telling you, a independent reporter or someone created this article, and I thought it was pretty good. AT&T, Haynes, Kellogg, Starbucks, Pepsi, Sony, Microsoft, Allstate, Royal Caribbean Group, Best Buy, IBM, General Motors, L'Oreal, Kohl's, Visa, Nokia, and Hewlett-Packard. I haven't read all their code of conducts, but you can. If you want an example, one of my favorite ways to create something for my businesses is to model other people's, right? I learned this in corporate America when I had to do all the ISO stuff. The best way to do that was to find a really good one and model it. Not copy, not steal, just model ours after that. And I do the same thing when I'm creating other things for my business and for my own personal life. Instead of reinventing the wheel, starting from scratch, it's always easier to edit something and make it our own than it is to create it from scratch. At least for most people that have ever tried to write anything. If you ever tried to write a term paper or a book or anything, well, it's easier to have an outline or a guideline to follow in order to create that. And so I recommend, if you don't have a motto, you don't have a code of conduct for your business, that you read several other people's and get ideas that you could use for yours to get your rough draft and then get buy-in from everybody in the organization. And again, some things you're going to put in your code of conduct that you don't need people's buy-in for. Hey, we're honest, ethical. We don't do anything illegal, immoral, or unethical in our business. If that's your guideline, that's your guideline, and just draw that line in the sand. And as the leader or the organizer or the business owner, you get to decide certain things like that. Hey, we're never going to break the law, people, right? I think that's a pretty clear one. We're never going to harm or hurt other people in the creation of what it is we do in our business. All right. I am now digressing. So share in the comments below your questions, concerns, thoughts about having a motto and a code of conduct. And then just, do you have one or not? And does that sound like something that would be fun and valuable for your organization? All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.